What got you into this Incubate debate program? This is your nonprofit
Yeah.
empowering young Americans with the art of debate, which is so intriguing to me because this is something I was really interested in from a very young age. I do it now every single day. I try to bring all sides together to talk about things. It's getting harder and harder to do that because people live in these bubbles and they just have confirmation bias. They don't want to hear anything other than affirming views and thoughts. And I love that you're really helping these young people learn the art of debate and therefore nurturing the willingness to debate. How'd you get into that?
I was a high school debater back 15 years ago. First thing I did my freshman year of high school, and I did it for all 4 years, and it completely changed my life. I had a really bad stutter growing up. I had a fear of speaking in front of crowds. I was plugged in talking to my grandfather and my dad about the news and current events and economics, but I didn't have an outlet. I didn't have a platform to debate those views. And boy, did high school debate give me that platform. So I was on the debate team, and then I came back as a volunteer judge in 2017, just after President Trump had won the first time around. And high school debate had changed for the worst. I wrote this article in the Free Press
Right.
entitled At High School Debates, Debate is No Longer Allowed. Dr. Phil, there were judges telling 14-year-old girls that if you argued that Israel had a right to defend itself, or that if capitalism lifted people out of poverty, you would automatically lose. One judge said that if you brought up Donald Trump's name, you would lose. One judge went on further to say that if you referred to illegal immigrants as, illegal immigrants, they would cut you off, end the debate early, and give you the loss because, quote, they wouldn't have you making the debate space unsafe. So debate became a total propagandized echo chamber where conservative, moderate views were just not tolerated. They would automatically lose out of hand, no questions asked. And so I decided to build an alternative called Incubate Debate. And Incubate Debate is simple. Our job is to revive open debate in America. First, at our tournaments, which is what we're doing. Now, what we're working on is bringing debate to classrooms all across America. Imagine learning about the events of August of 1945 in your history class, learning about the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and then having high school students debate that, whether it was truly necessary to drop those atomic bombs to end the war. Think about infusing the power of debate and civil discourse into classrooms all across the country. That's what we are building. We are incubating debate, and we're proud to be doing it.
What kind of participation are you getting? How many students do you have actively participating in your programs?
We're reaching 5,000 students right now. We'll
Seriously?
get that to 25,000 by the end of 2026. What we are doing now is working with teachers to give them a toolkit to be able to host engaging educational debates right in the classroom. You read The Prince by Machiavelli, and then instead of having the students write an essay as they did 2 weeks ago, Dr. Phil, you have them debate. Is it better to be feared or loved? They teach nuclear and solar in an environmental science class. Instead of writing an essay as they've done 10 times this semester, why don't we have them have a debate? Which is better? Which is more effective, nuclear or solar? Have students go up there, debate their ideas, speak their convictions, use research, and be humbled in the process of you don't know what you don't know sometimes. And that's what we're building with Incubate.
I think the fact that you already have 5,000 students participating in this is an amazing accomplishment. Congratulations on that. I can tell you it's astoundingly difficult now for me to get people to come, I'm talking about adults, to come on my platform and look at both sides of an issue here. And if I do, unfortunately, it's typically the extreme left that if I so much as ask a question,
yes,
all of a sudden I'm a hater and a phobic and all of that. You've got to be willing to discuss something to educate people. And I'm so proud that you've got 5,000 and are targeting 25,000 by the end of the next year, because the only way we're ever going to get out of these echo chambers is for people to learn that you can talk about these things. Your head doesn't explode, you don't melt, and that you don't have to agree with what somebody thinks, feels, or believes in order to like and respect that person. They can disagree on an issue and still be a decent human being. I think we've so got to get people back to understanding that. There was a time when you could do that, but now they boo you down. It's terrible that we censor people in that way. When I was in college, people would come on with other ideas and you would flock to hear them so you could learn their point of view, even if it was just to arm you to disagree with them more effectively. But you listened so you could learn how to fight back. Now, you don't do that. You cancel them and keep them from ever talking, and you don't learn anything. That's so frustrating to me.
That's exactly right. And so much of the division in our country, as you've seen and covered before, really stems from misunderstanding. We don't want to talk to the other side, which means we don't know what the other side thinks, which allows this idea in our mind to fester that they are evil, that we expect and we anticipate the worst, we assume the worst out of them. And that's just not acceptable. I mean, there was a time in this country not too long ago, Dr. Phil, where you could disagree on nearly everything except that we could come together and hash out our disagreements. That if you voted different for me, it didn't make you any less of an American, that we respected the dignity of our differences. And that's what we're trying to get back to. Our mission, again, is revive open debate in America. We are better. I am better as a conservative when I can talk to my progressive brothers and sisters. My progressive brothers and sisters are better as progressives and as Americans when they can talk to us. And we needn't hate one another at all. We just need to be able to come together and hash this out. And sadly, what the pandemic showed us was there wasn't just a lockdown on our businesses and in our schools. There was a lockdown on public discourse and open debate. You were shamed if you pushed back on a mask mandate for 4-year-olds. You were shamed for asking why we were mandating vaccines for healthy 14-year-old boys. And so that culture of censorship, that culture that certain things really can't be debated, that is un-American and is antithetical to national unity and truth-seeking.
Yeah, I guess it was Feynman that said, I would rather have questions I can't answer than answers I can't question.
That's right.
Let me tell you, that seems to be where we are. And as far back as high school, I was taken out of regular classes and put in some other classes where instead of doing a multiple choice test, I was given a blue book and said, okay, we want you to take the New Deal and discuss the domestic projects, the work projects, the financial reform and regulations, and compare and contrast that to Marxism and give 3 working examples of how they differ. You have to make that argument, and then you have to get up in front of the class and debate it. I was doing that instead of filling out a multiple choice test where all the answers were already on the test. You just had to find them. It just sparked in me to be challenged to have to put your thoughts into writing and then stand up and defend them. And I've been a fan of debate all ever since then. I just hate that we don't do that. And now I stand up and raise questions as to whether or not our elite universities should be supporting those that demonstrate on behalf of terrorist groups like Hamas and threaten Jewish students on campus. I never thought I would see and hear some of the things we're seeing and hearing on our campuses today.
Yeah.
And by just asking those questions and making that observation, my God, you would think that we were in another country. I'm absolutely shocked by it. Instead of people saying, I'd like to discuss that with you. Instead, I'd rather see you killed and nails hammered through your head. That just doesn't seem like America, not the one I grew up in. And so I love the fact that you're doing this and getting students to debate this stuff. And it will serve them well in life. It has you, right?
It's been a blessing for me, and we're going to continue doing this work. And, you know, Dr. Phil, you are always invited to come out and judge one of our debates and see this up close. I'm sure our students would love to hear how you have facilitated this viewpoint diversity and just different perspectives on all the great work that you're doing. So open invite to you at Incubate Debate.
Oh, listen, I would love to do it. And in judging that debate, I'll bet you anything I would come out of there learning so much from these young minds preparing and debating and thinking on their feet and going back and forth. I guarantee you they would teach me so much in the course of that debate. You can't do that and not learn, right? I bet you learn every time you do it.
I do it. As a judge, as the organizer, as the founder, I learn every time. And our judges, we ask our students, we say that the true test of winning isn't winning in the traditional who won the tournament. It's, are you walking out of here knowing something that you didn't know when you walked in? That Hemingway quote, true nobility is not being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. We ask our students, Dr. Phil, every tournament, if you walk out of here better than you walked in, stand up. And they all do. But what often happens is the judges stand up too, because they're walking out of here with new knowledge, new perspective, and a new idea of an important topic that we often debate at Incubate Debate.